in service to humanity. There are many people right now who are talking about waves of volunteers and not really understanding past personnel who came back to be in this ascension, and people from the future here to be in this ascension. So we thought we would have a conversation with you and try and give you more insight into potential missing pieces. Before we get into the subject matter, may I first introduce the great Alex Collier.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Darling, give us a little smidge. It's so lovely.
A little smidge. I'm one of the founding conspiracy theorists in the politics community.
One of the original naughty ones.
Yeah, nut jobs.
Nut jobs from the Andromeda Galaxy, everybody. Andromeda. And let's come to Chris O'Connor. Hello, sir. Please give us a smidge of who you be.
Well, I'm Chris O'Connor, and I have spent quite a bit of time off planet working with Space Force and other off planet organizations, and I have quite a few memories, some of which are being why I have come here on many occasions and in this particular lifetime as well. So that's why I'm here today.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Space Force Chris O'Connor. And Ginny Jablonski, my friend. A little introduction, please.
Hi, I am a multidimensional intuitive and a person who contemporaneously experiences multiple timelines and multidimensional incarnations. And I've not been very vocal with this knowledge until recently, and I'm happy to share anything that might help others today.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ginny. And while you turn up your volume, my love, I'm just going to say to the people out there, my name is Dani Henderson. I'm a Pleiadian nutjob contactee and here to sit with friends to bring information from all the libraries in all the universes and all the galaxies, because it is time, my friends, it is time. So my friend Ginny Jablonski and I were sitting together. We did a broadcast the other day and we so wanted to continue with the past and future, etc. And then she was mentioning our friend Alex Collier, information there that Alex also brought to the forum, as it were, and then also Chris O'Connor, who we're getting to know extremely well out there in the world, has information too. So we're going to hand over to Ginny Jablonski as she brings her information on the waves of volunteers.
Well, I'd like to start with what I remember prior to coming here. And that is that I was not incarnate, to my knowledge, on future Earth. I was incarnate somewhere else. And things were beginning to happen in future Earth that we describe here on Earth when we experience them as the Mandela effect.
Friend Alex Collier, information there that Alex also brought to the forum, as it were, and then also Chris O'Connor, who we're getting to know extremely well out there in the world, has information too. So we're going to hand over to Ginny Jablonski as she brings her information on the waves of volunteers.
Well, I'd like to start with what I remember prior to coming here. And that is that I was not incarnate, to my knowledge, on future Earth. I was incarnate somewhere else. And things were beginning to happen in future Earth that we describe here on Earth when we experience them as the Mandela effect. To my knowledge, and what I was made aware of, is that entire genetic lineages were starting to disappear and soul groups were starting to disappear from the future. So there was an effort made to send souls, not through the normal death and reincarnation experience back to the past, but in a type of stasis or suspended animation, and project their souls into the past. And my understanding is that that experiment did not go well, that roughly 50,000 beings participated, and 30,000 came to Earth, and 20,000 incarnated elsewhere, scattered throughout this solar system and galaxy, although I do not have the details. None of the souls that incarnated on Earth returned, and not all of the souls that incarnated elsewhere returned. And that is when a great effort was put together through many multi-dimensional races and beings from beyond, without the universe. I do not have knowledge as to how many are participating and how many galaxies they are from. I have a sense, but I am not the ultimate authority on that information. My understanding is that 200 million souls from future Earth lineages, not just future Earth proper, but other races that are or were created through hybridization in the future. So that would include what some people, other races that some people channel now currently, but all, to my knowledge, benevolent. And the project or the mission that I am aware of, that I am participating in, is called the Great Awakening. And that is 200,000 souls from future Earth and future ancestral lineages that are born from ascended humans or hybridized with humans. And then 50 million galactic souls that people refer to them now as interplanetary souls or star seeds. Many of the people who say, I don't belong here, why am I here? It shouldn't be like this, and are struggling to be incarnate on the earth and in human bodies right now. And others as well, smaller groups, anywhere from 3 or 6 from other lineages and other universes. To my knowledge, there are beings here from other universes as well participating in the project. And I only woke up to this because I had multiple near-death and spiritual experiences. And during my last near-death experiences, my consciousness in this life was done. It was done. And I was ready to go to the other side. I was thrilled to be relieved of my responsibilities here. But what happened was an aspect of my soul from outside the matrix came in to support me. It is an aspect of me, the soul that I was when I was born, but it was an aspect that had never incarnated here on Earth before. And were it not for that aspect, I would not have been able to heal. I would not have been able to go on a journey, which I've recounted many times, and that's not what today's about. But I have had this guidance and this connection beyond the causal realms, what some people would call causal realms. I was not magically healed, but I was led on a journey to understand what happened to me as a human being, how our human consciousness, how complicated it is, and how it can very easily be taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. And I've had been hypnotized many times. I've had many failed attempts and hundreds of sessions with healers, and traveled extensively and listened to many, many other people's perspectives. Mm-hmm. But my ship has always been righted by my own soul. Beautiful. And so this information that I am bringing, I've tried not to listen to other people's testimony, whether it be from the space program or galactic informers. However, 2 years ago, I was guided, after being on Alex's mailing list for probably 3 or 4 years. I was told listen today. And what he spoke about on my entire journey, and I apologize if I cry, I had never, ever on my entire journey, and I met thousands of people across the world, never heard anybody say such specific things that I knew in my being. I had memory of experiencing it, and I had guidance to participate in the form of my own healing, and let's say peeling away the onion, the layers of the interference, whether it be technology, whether it be mind control, whether it be bacteria that don't even belong on the planet, and a whole host of ways that I, as a human, experienced interference so that I would not wake up and remember the truth of who I am. And that is why, from my perspective, in my work, my mission is to be part of the Great Awakening.
Beautiful. Ginny, thank you so much. Alex. Yeah, Ginny, well done.
Yeah.
Alex, what? Jenny, the 50,000 that didn't come back, or 30,000 that didn't come back, was it because of the benefits package? Was it because of the food? Were they oversold on the accommodations? I mean, I'm jesting, only because it's a real serious issue. And a lot of souls that did come in here in the first initial waves, they were broken. They were broken when they left here. And, and I have joked for 30 years that, Earth is boot camp for the soul, that I'm really not joking about that. I mean, this place will mess you up if you don't have a clue, because nothing makes sense. It just doesn't make sense. That stupid is as stupid as it is, and as enlightened is as enlightened as it is, and yet it doesn't get enough traction here. It just doesn't make any sense. When Dani told me, left me a message on WhatsApp about what you had talked about the 200. Well, I was told the number 200 million, but the rest of it, that was you. And when Dani laid it out for me, that totally made sense that they would do it in waves. Because if you're trying to enlighten the place, you would do it in waves so that you could support voluntary introspection, which is, of course, the path that the benevolence would always take. They would lead the information to you, and then it would be your decision to look into it, to look at it, to integrate it, or at least begin to pay attention. And then they would add more, and then they would add more, and they would add more, so that everyone that awoke or became awakened did so voluntarily, so that they could own it. They could have responsibility for their own awakening and enlightenment and empower themselves. I didn't have that piece. When that piece was given to me, it was then added to me by Mornay that the dark ones were targeting the souls when they were very young, to flip them, to break them, so that their consciousness could not grab hold of the consciousness here and begin raising the frequency. Now, I'm going to assume that at this point, every new soul coming in here, since we've had this transition and the removal of the dark forces for the most part, that every soul coming in here now is of a different vibration, higher vibration than we've been accustomed to. Would that be right?
That's my personal understanding.
Okay. Yeah, that's mine as well. That they've brought in the big bats, the MVPs, the senseis, the Jedis, the enlightened from other star nations, and it could be from other universes or galaxies as well. I mean, this is sort of a big deal. This is sort of a really big deal here on Earth, and they're looking for the knockout. They're looking for the knockout. They're looking to just take this entire Orion system and AI system out. They just want it gone, because it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge for everybody. So, Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree wholeheartely. Earth is notoriously known for being an incredibly difficult planet to incarnate into, because of all of the many years of infiltration on so many levels. That the human race was designed and wiped out 6 other times. This is the 7th time we've come up to this level, and we're not going to be wiped out this time. This time is the last time, and so that's why it's so intense and so difficult. But it's a message of hope. Because of all the volunteers coming in now, like you say, Alex, they are, more advanced on an spiritual soul evolutionary level. They're older,
Yeah.
and so they have more experience. And so now they're coming in, like you say, with the big guns, and all they really need to do is exist on the planet and just use and share their vibration, and that is what's moving it.
Yeah, just be present.
Just be
Lady
present.
Henderson, do you have any input on that?
Yeah, what I was thinking about was, how can we simplify this for some people that will see this broadcast that maybe don't understand the galactic information, the history of the galaxy. And I think in doing that, what I could offer here is the information that we've come to understand about the indigo wave, and then the crystal wave of children, and then the rainbow wave of children. Now, years ago, there was a lady, late 60s, early 70s. Her name was Nancy Tappe, Tappe, and she was one of the first humans to write and acknowledge a range of human children that seem to come in with a feistier, more fighting kind of warrior-like energy. And some people disagree with the dates. I definitely fall under that sphere, but was born earlier than that. And then, there was kind of an acknowledgement to the power of the souls of certain humans coming in. And I'm so glad we're all acknowledging what a difficult environment this planet is to actually incarnate and survive on so many different levels, with all the interference that's happened. And it's been a slave colony, and it's been an imprisoned environment, and it's been the target of many a nefarious being off planet to enslave the beautiful human population. And so it makes sense that there will be future humans that would come in, and I have met my future self physically on this plane in the last year, which again adds value to me and my understanding of what we're all talking about here. I think there's great confusion too. I think people get very confused on a spiritual journey, and they try and make things fit, and they try and put a label to something. With the wave of volunteers that a lot of us have had that speak from Dolores Cannon, I think she offered a huge amount of value, I really do, in trying to make sense of and learning from people that she put into hypnosis. And so from her perspective, since then, there are people that spew her information that are just on their own path, and so it kind of gets muddied, which is another great reason why we're sitting here helping each other take it apart, but also offering to the beautiful people that will see this. There are children, they're called crystal children, hypersensitive. There are children called rainbow children. A lot of these people I'm referring to are now adults, our age, older, of course, younger coming in. But there is a definite element of humanity that's been coming in the last 25 years who have come in without the guilt gene. They don't feel guilt like we did. They don't have that ability to slay themselves and flagellate themselves like a lot of us have. They still suffer, of course, but they're not suffering as much. And it's really noticing those kinds of humans that question and push. Now, they're seen as the arrogant ones. They're seen as the rebellious ones, so unfairly in my understanding and my own personal opinion. But these are the warriors. These are the, well, there's 4 of them sitting in the sitting on screen here right now, full of love, humility, and compassion, but a real fierce passion for humanity. That is what I would add at this juncture. Ginny, what say you?
Well, yes, I guess my focus and my passion, firstly, I would refer people back to the recording that you and I did about 5 days ago, talking about grounding and focusing on the heart and coming into the heart. But today, I think my message is a bit more literal. And that is that those of us who are here for this purpose, and those earth-based souls who have been incarnating here just because they love Earth and they love humanity, and they're part of this too, make no mistake, there is a concerted effort, both biologically, physiologically, and spiritually, to hijack our purpose. And I would like to share just 2 quick ways that it was attempted on me this week. I have a dear friend, very awake and aware, works with horses, very awake and aware horses. And she contacted me last week and said, I was in deep meditation, high level meditation with my horse. And my horse wants to talk to you, doesn't want a session with you, but wants to download information to you or give you information, and it will help the horse on its spiritual journey. And my red flag went up right away. And I have, thank God, a very good bullshit meter. Not that she was bullshitting or the horse was, but that the information was not benevolent, right? And so I told her, okay, I'll meditate on this. And I meditated, and in the way that any being who is vertically connected to their higher self, oversoul, whatever you call it, and beyond, we are able to perceive what is happening around us. And there were 3 souls attached to the horse who very much wanted to download information to me so they could move on for their spiritual evolution. So I explained that to her. And she said, I questioned it. I thought better of it. And that's happening a lot. Hold that thought. And then the other thing was that I was talking with a girlfriend in Spain and Australia on a Zoom, much like this, where we share our evolutionary experiences, what we're going through, what we're letting go of, how our field energetic construct is shifting, and et cetera. And all of a sudden, my dear friend started channeling. And she said, oh, the Pleiadians are here. And my guide, Archangel Michael, here is telling me that this is really the Pleiadians, and they really want our help. And it's because we all love humanity so much. And will we just allow them to come to us and physically alter our bodies when we sleep? Well, I happen to be the administrator of the Zoom call. So rather than be rude to my friend, I said, oh, sorry, gotta go. And I clicked off the Zoom and I ended the Zoom. And then I contacted them later and said, those beings were not benevolent. I'm sorry if you think your guide is Archangel Michael, but it's not. Mm-hmm. And it's really important for us to up our game, to up our level of discernment. There is such a level of trickery. There is such a level of oversimplifying spiritual information, a controlled narrative. Just think books published by Hay House, oversimplification, what some people would call from a neurological perspective or a sociological perspective, a heuristic, HEURISTIC, heuristic. It's an oversimplified solution to the problem so you don't blow your own mind. And that is what is being shared planetary wide in many, many spiritual communities. So my plea to all of us on this journey is know your own frequency, be in your own body. I was recently interviewed by someone who interviews like 3 people a day. That's how he makes money. Wonderful channel. And he just talks to people. And he's the most amazing, loving, kind, gentle, incredible, wonderful, intelligent person I ever met. And I just love him to death. And he has all these people on, people that used to be mermaids, or people that were, you know, Andromedans or Arcturians or Alpha Centaurians or what have you, or people from the future. And when he got done interviewing me, and Dani, I called and left you a voicemail full of expletives that this day, I believe. At the very end, he said, Ginny, I always enjoy talking to you. You're very humble, but more interestingly, you're very human. And the way he said it was like, you know, you're just human. You're not as interesting as everybody else. I've got mermaids and aliens here on my show, and you're just human. And here's the secret information. We came here to be human. We came here to ascend humanity. We came here with human DNA. We came here to rock out being human. And we came here to own the vehicle that we are incarnate in. And if you don't own it, somebody else will. And it's happening a lot. So I understand that 250 million of us don't necessarily want to be here right now. And I might be one of the most excited person you ever met about being human. If we can all get excited about being in a human body, because guess what this human body affords us? Through the alchemy of our soul blueprint and our DNA, we can transmute any frequency that they send to us.
Yes.
And through the power of our thoughts and our intentions, we can create a future that those people don't want. Here are 3 things that are really important. Focused attention, having a felt unified sense of, if it's just the 5 human senses or the 8 psychic senses or whatever human language you want to give, and your memory. Why do you think they are trying so hard to interfere with our felt senses, our ability to focus, and our memory? We are some of the most powerful beings in this universe. At least we have the potential to be. Don't let them just steal it from you. Don't let them make you feel less than. Drive your own bus. I have so many clients that come to me, whether they used to be in government programs or they just remember being a 9th dimensional liquid being of light, and they remember going onto the ships to down level their energy, and they were so excited to come here to Earth, and they get here and they don't know what to do, because we aren't born into a society that teaches us about our consciousness, and we need to learn post haste how to control our consciousness and how to forgive and let go.
Well, we've also had instructors who haven't actually been here. They read about it. They only read about it, and
Yeah.
you can't teach that if you've never done it.
All of the people that are channeling answers from beings outside, click off. They have no clue. They don't know what they're talking about. They've never been in a human body. I've insulted many a person I have paid $500 an hour to when they tried to give me answers like that.
Interesting. Getting back to all the kids that are coming in the last 25, 27, 28 years that are warriors. I've got 5 of those. And, as a parent, I can tell you they absolutely are a handful. And they are almost never on the same page at the same time. So any conversation, family conversation, has to be said 5 different ways. Okay. All in the span of an hour.
That's exhausting.
Because they all hear things differently, and they all interpret things differently, and because they're all really different. But that's the nature of their souls, and you figure that out eventually. When the placenta comes out, there's no owner's manual, not even an index card that says, here's the pros and here's the cons. It would be very helpful, in the future, maybe. Things to look out for in the future with this one. But anyway, Jenny, you're a rock star. You're just a rock star. I'm so proud of you. You're really rocking it, and I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled for you. And you're right about the passion about being human. I've had some tough times here, but at this point in my life, I'm more excited than the race at conception that I won. And we'll see what happens. It looks really good. I got a text from a friend today that and I don't have any other information than this, but apparently the Pleiadians that Billy Myers was talking to, or that we're seeing him or are seeing him, they're now for population reduction. And I'm like, whoa. So, there is a lot of infiltration still going on, except it's off world. And but that's to be expected. They have invested a lot of time and energy into trying to contain and to own our physical containers, because we have an adaptability that very few races have, if any other race has. Plus we can hold multidimensional spiritual forms in our bodies as well. So Jenny, when you say that, we're incredibly powerful and remarkable, and I ditto that. I ditto that. And of course, we have Chris here and we have Dani, who already represent that remarkable. Although, Dani, I always saw as kind of meek and shy.
On the quiet side.
Quite right.
Well, I think there's different layers and levels of passion, and you have to figure out, where are you coming from? What is the fire behind your passion? Is it to be seen as an individual, person that people adore and celebrate in a way that isn't going to help them? Or is it just coming out raw and true and passionate for your brothers and your sisters, risking humiliation, shame, attack, threat, harm, I'm definitely the latter. Chris, can you share with us some of your off-planet knowledge about some of the initial races that came in that beginning waves of volunteers, please?
I can speak of my personal memories. I can speak on that, in that my soul family, my soul group, which, not everybody understands, a soul group is not their race, is not their origin race. A soul group is just like here on Earth. You come from a family and you come together and you make a new family out of, multiple races, multiple families. It's the same thing off planet. In fact, it's more prolific. So a soul family, a soul group can be of many, many races, or any race that chooses to come together, a few members from each race. So that's what a soul family is. So when you speak of a soul family, that's where your guides come in. That's where your guides come from, is within that group. And then you work one-on-one, some stay back and some incarnate. So I say that because I can, explain my memory of my coming to Earth and incarnating. It's very simple. We were hovering above Earth, obviously must have been in a ship because we're looking down on the Earth. This came to me just recently in meditation and understanding more about how this process works. There's multiple ways to incarnate on Earth. The way that my group did was, I was in a room in the ship, and we were looking at Earth, and I was trying to narrow down the 3 families that I was going to incarnate into. I'd already kind of looked at the whole storyline. If I incarnate with this family, what would happen? And the first one was, I would have a great life and I probably wouldn't learn any of the lessons or be able to accomplish any of my mission, because I get so distracted by the greatness of my life. Then the second family was, I'll have challenges, things will be difficult. I have a good chance of, accomplishing my mission if I incarnate into this family, but there's a good chance I won't. So it's kind of a 50-50 chance. Excuse me. And the third family was much more difficult. And there was a much higher chance that I would have to seek inwardly, find love within myself. And in that process of seeking inward, recover memories. And then that would lead me to my mission in a much greater percentage possibility. So of course, I kind of laughed it off and said, well, we all know which one I'm going to choose. So in that moment, I just put my arms out and then close my eyes to fall forward. And that's sort of just like symbolically saying, I'll give myself in to this moment. Well, the fascinating thing about that is that, as long as it takes to close your eyes and do this, you can open your eyes again and you've lived your entire lifetime on Earth through the matrix. You're still standing in that same spot. So that whole incarnate lifetime is just a second, really, and I remember the room, how it looks. The floors were like emerald floors. And there was like 2 places that you stand with my bare feet. And there were these little nodules, 2 on each foot. So one on the side in the front and one under the heel. And then those nodules were connected to gold, like circuitry in the floor, going to like a computer up on the left-hand side. And so that's where the matrix was being controlled from. So that was my personal experience, and I was volunteering to come into Earth, and I had done it a number of times. So there's really no perception of time lost off planet, but here there are many races that do that, and it really, you could be from any time. You can be from the past or the future in this process, since the matrix is something that can be easily accessed and controlled. And so that's my personal experience. Those are my personal memories of my coming here initially, and I had done that process quite a few times in different timelines within the Earth, and time zones within, or time periods rather, within the Earth. So this process is a designed process, and I know there are many millions of people that have done this, different, thousands of different races that do this. So your soul complex comes through, and you incarnate as a human being, for a purpose, and that purpose is to have the life, have the experience, so that you can have the true understanding and compassion, hopefully, and to assist the race. And this isn't just Earth that this happens on. This happens on every evolving planet. Every planet with intelligent life that's evolved to the level of humanity, these groups come together and they do what they can to assist. And most of the time, they don't want to come down and just land. They do at times, depending on the race. And they try to hear with humans, it didn't work. And so now the process is not landing physically, but incarnating and being within that group.
Beautiful. Chris, you mentioned that you had an opportunity to choose 3 different sets of parents in which to incarnate through the birth canal into that family and have your experiences in a human vessel. What was the remembering that you had for your mission currently?
For disclosure, to assist humanity to evolve spiritually in whatever way I could while I was here, just whether it was to share my vibration, or share the information and knowledge of how to raise your vibration, because it's all about raising your frequency and vibration. And when you do that, you raise it for your neighbors, you raise it for your country, for the planet, and then the whole of humanity raises, and that blocks negativity from coming in. So we mentioned earlier about how so many beings being incarnate now are more benevolent than malevolent now. It's very difficult for malevolent, negative souls to incarnate on Earth, because we are working to raise the vibration and the frequency of the planet.
I love that. Beautiful. Who would like to offer next?
Ginny.
Well, I know that my purpose, if I may share mine, is to share as simply and as lovingly, and I might have failed that today earlier, as effectively as I can, simple processes that have been largely forgotten on the planet, and that are not shiny and exciting and don't promise miraculous manifestation or immediate healing, but to help people remember the truth of who they are, and to help people come into their physical vessel, heal their heart, connect vertically to their soul, to be able to heal, and to be able to, as I said earlier, drive your own bus, be in charge of our beingness, physical and non-physical, and be a bridge, just a tiny little bridge and a tiny little bandwidth of consciousness that is shifting from forgetfulness into remembering. So what we would think of as 3rd density consciousness, I am this physical human being, I was born and I will die, into a more 4th density awareness, bindi point sort of awareness, that I am a spirit in a body, and I will continue to exist when I pass, and I will choose how I pass and where I go when I do. And that those beginning steps are glossed over when we get certified in healing modalities and all of these other things. You can pay somebody $1,000 to activate your 3rd eye, but what are you going to do with it when you do? And how are you going to be able to interpret what you see? And will you be able to create boundaries around that? And how will you know if it's true or not? The being is saying what they're saying is true. How will you clear yourself? How will you ground and manage that ability? Because if we evolve naturally on a perfect world where we might be born, and when we're young, we're taught to meditate and manage our energy and observe energy and be present, 101 things that we're not taught, we would then have a better command of our evolution, and we would have context, and we would have choices. There wouldn't be people out there just saying, oh, I'm not going to give you any answers. I wouldn't want to rob from you the ability to make your own mistake and make your own choices. But nobody is allowing people to even understand what the playing field looks like. In other words, the common threads of all of the spiritual philosophies, or how the natural evolution of psychic abilities evolve. Psychic abilities are, let's say, correlate to our level of consciousness, the level of consciousness we have achieved. But if we skip ahead and we activate our third eye, which should correlate to a level of Christ consciousness that nobody can teach, you can only experience that, right? And if you're still literally living from your root chakra or your solar plexus and total disempowerment and doubt and unworthiness, then what's coming through up here is not congruent with that level of consciousness. And so my purpose is to help people come back to the basics so that anything else we choose to experience, we can actually embody those teachings. And it's really wisdom that we express through us, as opposed to intellectual knowledge and protocol. Oh, well, when you do this, this happens. Really? Because that's not what I see 9 times out of 10. So I encourage people to come back to basics, self-awareness, self-responsibility. And to my knowledge, that's always been my purpose.
Alex, could you add to that in terms of you here, as far as humanity is aware, and those of us that are aware of you and the legacy that you have delivered, although I know you're very humble and don't like to focus on it too much, but over your 30 plus years of bringing information, is it possible for you to give us a kind of synopsis on what you've known your mission to be? And alongside that, is there anything else that the Andromedans, the Council, Monet would love to share with us today?
When I first came down here, I don't know what I was thinking. We got a tasker and said, there's an issue, go see what you can do, and I don't know if we were set up or not, but it didn't go well. I think that in the end, we're all going to find out that the Earth experience is like a training for something that's coming, something that Source hasn't created yet, that is in the process of creating. If you were to take our particular universe, and we have the founders who came in, they created physicality, they created galaxies, planets, etc. It could very well be that the Earth experience, which is one of the toughest to go through here, that some of us here that have gone through this process will go on to another opportunity to create something along with Source. I don't know how to put it into words, but I've had I have attended many meetings where this is being discussed in the future. And the encouragement is always to see this through. Now, I can tell you that in that room, there is an incredibly amount of evolved souls, some human, some not. And we all have the same experience, or we're all saying the same thing. This sucks. Okay, this really, it's almost as if none of us really knew what we were getting into. Now, for the last 30 years, truthfully, I don't even know what my legacy is. I don't know what it's going to be. And I wasn't ever thinking about it, and I still don't think about it. Having come from a mixed family, or yours, mine, and ours, and then having friends in high school who had little brothers and sisters who vanished. I was all about doing whatever I could to make sure that that didn't continue to happen, because I firsthand saw what it did to families, the child trafficking and everything else. I saw what it did firsthand to the families. It wasn't until later when Morena and Fasay showed me what was happening to the kids that it cemented it for me. As soon as I got over the shock and the horror of it. And that's still the mission today, except it's grown from kids to young adults to middle-aged to vintage like myself. It's everybody. And it's not like you can fix anyone, because you can't, and nor can you save anyone. All you can do is lead them to the information. They have to do it. As Ginny says, you have to take responsibility. That's a message I think most of us have all had. And as long as you get it the last 10 minutes of your life, great. That's probably all it would take, but at least you get it. At least you understand it. At least you understand your journey, not only here, but your journey in all physicality, regardless of where you are, where you've been, whether it's the past, present, or the future. The idea is to totally bring it all into the moment with you, and to know that moment, and know that no matter what you've been through, where you've been, and whatever you're going to do in the future, you walk with Source all the way. There is no other way you can do this. So, there is no abandonment. There is no, I'm not worthy. None of that shit exists in reality. That's just what the Matrix has fed everybody. And the Matrix just wasn't on Earth. It's been many other places as well. Procyon and many other star systems, in our galaxy and in other places. We all want to have value, and we all want to know that we all want others to know that we have value. And I think in a lot of ways, we spend a lot of time trying to get other people's attention so that they see us and they recognize that we have value. When the reality is we really don't need any of that. All that matters is what we think of ourselves. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And in my own way, whether it's been successful or not, that's what I've tried to teach. That's the message I wanted to give everybody. But at the same time, everybody needed a lot of background to understand, where's Alex coming from? Where's anybody coming from when they talk about this stuff? And, aliens, come on, we're the center of the universe, right? So you have to walk it back and give people some perspective, because when you give them information, they have to have a place to put it. And sometimes we have to create that box so that they can put that information inside of them and compartmental it somewhere, so that in the future, as Chris was saying, there's disclosure, that box opens up and there's that information sitting there. And they go, aha, I've heard this before, and that's what I've been, I think in large measure, that's what I've been trying to do, is to create those boxes and to put stuff in those boxes so that in the future, people would know what to do with the information. They wouldn't go into overwhelm and then shut down. We can't do that. We like you said, warriors. We have to be on the front line. We have to keep moving forward. We have to keep dragging humanity forward, kicking and screaming, whatever it takes, to get to that level of frequency so that we can all truly make that decision about sovereignty, about self-love, about self-preservation. Because only in that place will we finally realize that we are all brothers and sisters of Source. And that doesn't just change Earth, that changes everything. Everything. No one walks away from that moment. Even the observers can't walk away from that moment. So today, that's what I think. Come ask me tomorrow. Good. That's all I got.
Beautiful. Thank you. Who else would like to comment? Chris?
Okay. That's okay.
Yes. I don't know, just absorbing everything Alex said. I was just like, oh my gosh, really, really into that. It's, you know, it just brings me back to, you know, the purpose of so many volunteers, so many visitors, so many other races incarnating in through the planet in this critical time of human evolution. And it's just the fact that we benefit obviously in some form or fashion, and even if it's a really difficult life, you know, it's like you know, it's like a boot camp, you know, crash course, you know, in soul evolution coming to Earth. You know, so I think that's why a lot of us choose to do it. A lot of us choose to do it, you know, because it's sort of as a race, you know, even if you're one individual representing your race, your whole race you're responsible for, and they're responsible for you. You know, that's how it's seen intergalactically and galactically, universally. You know, so the action of one human is held in the action and responsibility of the whole human race. You know, so when a race evolves off of their planet, like Earth and humanity is currently in the process of doing, and they go other places, and they have either positive or negative effect on other planets, other races, other, you know, other beings, the whole of humanity is held responsible for that. You know, and so that's why a lot of us come back too, is to help balance that. You know, so there's not just one reason to come through. There are multiple reasons, you know, and usually there are a lot of really excellent reasons for someone to volunteer, to come in, incarnate into the planet, and to share their vibration, to teach as they can, and just help evolve the whole of humanity, because Earth is evolving whether we evolve or not. It's going to happen. It is happening. And so it increases its density and vibrational rate. We got to keep up with it, you know, as a race. And that's a lot of the reason that a lot of us are here too, is to just share that information and then say, listen, you can do it. You know, you can raise your frequency, you can raise your vibration. It's not difficult to do. You know, I have this little quib I'll share with you really quick. I call it CAL, K-A-L. It's 3 things you can do every single day. It's so simple. And if you do these 3 things in conjunction, you know, it doesn't have to be all at once, it can be. If you do these 3 things every day, you will raise your vibration and frequency. And that CAL stands for kindness, doing something kind for someone else, you know, whatever that looks like. Saying hello, saying you look nice, you know, cooking them a meal, whatever that looks like. So doing something kind for every day. Then doing something which is physical, which is activity. So that's the AKA. Do something active every day for your physical body, because you must be good for yourself first and foremost. If you're not good for yourself, you can't be good for anyone else. You know, so you have to do something active for you, whatever that looks like for you. And then do something that you love every single day, whatever that is, some small thing. Watch a movie, cook a meal, have coffee with whipped cream, whatever that looks like. So if you can do something kind every day, do a little bit of activity every day, and do something that you love every single day, it's all you have to do to raise your vibration, and you're helping evolve humanity.
That's so beautiful, Chris. Thank you. Thank you so much. While we are on the subject of supporting our brothers and our sisters, something that Ginny and I were discussing the other day, we actually did a broadcast on it. There is a massive amount of obvious and clear infiltrators right now trying to mess with the disclosure on all the different levels and layers of this planet. And there is a lot of left behind gray and reptilian interference. Now, as those stinky ass horrors have been offed off the planet, they knew they were going to be removed. Everybody's had access to the looking glass or the time looking machinery. And so there are many people right now on the planet who are espousing certain healing modalities. There is a healing light touch therapy that is now up and running in hundreds of centers across the country, in America in particular, and everybody's roaring about it. And of course, people are having wonderful things happen. But what they're not looking at is the machinery behind. There is a lot of reptilian energy connected to this. Chris, I have a question. I can't remember the race. There is an ancient race of dark, nefarious beings. Bloodline lineage can connect to a part of Israel, for example, that part of the world. An ancient race who are here for the long game. They live 200-300 years or longer. They care not for humans. They act on that also high, aggressive, gray and reptilian frequency. What is that race called? Can you remember?
I'm not bringing it in right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Because there's a link there for people that, because I don't want to sit and give, we can't give everything away. People have to use their own discernment too, but there is a lot of great and reptilian infiltration. There are people who have no idea they are being used still with grey programs that have not been fully disconnected. A lot of them are emotional programs where they feel like they are doing and saying the right things. They are actually not. There are other very attractive, shiny people on platforms such as this who are making up stories about there being the good ship, Jerusalem, and saying that Jesus Christ is driving the ship Jerusalem. He's going to pop down and pick you buggers all up. It is a lie. There is a similar person saying that there is going to be a massive solar flash and everyone's going to get tasered. But it's all right, though. Don't worry, folks, because your genetic DNA and your cellular light is going to be upgraded all of a sudden and you're going to live in nirvana. My darlings, that is utter bollocks. And we need to be careful and be mindful of the things that people out there are saying and sharing, including us at this round table. We welcome you. Feel into it. Check into it. As Ginny says, we came here to be human. The future is not grey. The future is not reptilian. And the future is not controlled by others that we did not give permission to. And now we're going to hear from the very magical, the very beautiful, the white wizard that is known as Merlin. You have to bring that baby onto the screen. Merlin! Oh, it's like, Daddy, I can't stand her. She called me a wizard again.
No, he's just telling me it's walk time, so he'll have to wait. He has paper, so he's good.
Oh. If only
He's my
humans could be trained
handler.
that way.
See? In the KAL, he's the A for sure.
Oh, good.
And
Dogs
the L,
often are.
and the L,
Yeah.
So he's cool. Yeah, I know. I know. And we have a lot of people in the truther movement too that they're going negative on everything because it's they have this perception, well, there's the timing, this has to be done in our timing, in our way, and we're tired of waiting, and I'm just flabbergasted, frankly, that these people, having fought the fight and knowing where we were and how far we've come, now suddenly are entitled that this has to be over with soon. I just don't quite know what to do with that, because it's over when it's over. That solar flash, should it happen, then it would be over, right? It would all be tased. I don't know.
With that quickly, I can't imagine anything. Well, I can imagine things scarier than that, but imagine the fear that has put into people to keep them in place. It's like, don't do anything. We've got it handled. There's going to be a solar flash. And you literally are waiting. Is it going to be today? Is it going to be today? I mean, there must be so many constipated people right now holding everything and thinking, oh my God, is it going to happen? Is it going to hurt? Darlings, it's not going to happen. There is no predicted, no prophesized, no actual solar flash in the way that we've been told. It's just simply not true. Ginny, what say you to that and the grey reptilian connections that we were mentioning?
Well, I don't have any specific knowledge. I know that there is some prophecy across different spiritual traditions about the Samvartika fire. I am not a scholar, so I don't really have that type of information. And with respect to remnants of energy, I would say to me that falls into, as Chris said, cleaning up unfinished business of the soul. I'm just using different language, my language, coming back to maybe set things right or let go of certain constructs that we have accepted, over time, and to be here, to be a part of those that raise the frequency in order for those technologies or AI to no longer have an effect on humanity. I certainly have met with clients who have asked me if they've been abducted, if they have implants. I see far more multidimensional implants and thought forms and consciousness that doesn't belong to people in their field than I do actual physical. I know many people, including myself, that have woken up in the middle of the night screaming because they've just been injected with a hypodermic needle. They come in and put something in you, and contact someone that can help you nullify that stuff, because all it takes is frequency and consciousness. If it's a bacteria or a fungus or a word that ends in RUS, those things can be transmuted into healthy tissue or fluid or something beneficial for organic life. Metals, including iron, the excess of iron we have in our body, can be transmuted by working with nature, calling on the frequency of spruce, sandalwood, and gold, and sending gratitude and transmuting the heavy metals in our bodies. There are so many things that we can do psychospiritually to support the biological, physiological interference. And, largely that includes neurology and energetic construct and consciousness components, which is why I'm a wonderful cheerleader for understanding our consciousness and where our thoughts come from, and not just riding the wave of our emotions, but finding out where the emotion came from. Because if we let go of the judgment, we can let go of the emotion, and we don't have to have it anymore. And there are certainly a number of oversimplified solutions in that regard as well. But I just wanted to share that I personally, Dani, I had a bit of a shift sort of the end of December, where I felt like whatever my soul agreement was, and I've had a few, I've sort of, thank goodness, evolved beyond my initial soul agreement, renegotiated in conscious awareness what that agreement was. And I had a sense that mine was shifting in November again. And right just about 3 or 4 days before Elena came on and said she had the message about the information being given about disclosure, I don't know if it was just the first week of the year, I got a message that said to me that my purpose had shifted. And as soon as I saw Elena said that, I messaged her and I said, oh my gosh, Elena, this is 100% right in alignment with, it was 3 or 4 days ago when I got the message. And so I'd like to share a general message for everyone that if this applies to you, great. If not, no problem. So firstly, every message starts out for me anyway with you are loved. So you are loved. And then the last line of this message is, please share this message with all who will listen. So I'm fulfilling my directive. Many hardships have transpired and you have weathered them well. Your next task is to stay balanced. And I this is sort of automatic writing this message, right? And I wrote no matter what in all caps with 3 exclamation points. What is to come on earth may create instability. You and others, meaning myself or you and others will create a frequency netting of sorts around the planet to support the planet and all of humanity in their evolution, quote, all caps, through the storm, end quote, so to speak. Growth is hard, change is hard, but balance equals mastery. And I have full body chills sharing that message. And how can we achieve balance? Know thyself, heal thyself, become self-aware, become self-responsible, do the practices Chris suggests, do what I suggest, meditate, ask your higher self to support you, because generally speaking, we have to ask. We have to ask. And if we ask, much is given, much is given.
Wonderful, wonderful. Does anybody else have anything else to add before Merlin needs his exercise and his walk?
He's good. He's all right. We do this dance every day.
Is it called the dominant dance? Who's the alpha in the household?
Mostly me, but not every day.
That's funny.
Well, I have a quick little thing I could say that I always try to help encourage people with, because it can be so difficult. You hear so many different things. Sometimes things are contradictory in our minds. Not understanding that, okay, well, this person says this person says this. So we hear a lot, especially if we're seeking. The internet right now allows us. Communications allow us to get a lot of information in. My personal advice is don't listen to the news. Stop that. It's a hard one for people. But stop inputting that information for the most part, into you, because it's not healthy for your soul. But then when you seek, and when you seek to find information and you hear stuff like we're going to have, a solar flare and such as these things, these are people seeing possibilities of the future. They're not certainties of the future. And so they may be seeing different timelines that we're not on, and the planet, if you're listening to me right now, the Earth that you're on is a positive planet. This planet and the people and the race on it are in an evolutionary uptick on a positive level, and so just rest assured that you're on the right planet right now. But also look into the information that you're hearing. if you're hearing doom, you're hearing a lot of negativity, and you're hearing, things that kind of bring you down, that's not necessarily information you need to take in, unless you're a negative soul and they're absorbing that, and that's your vibrational rate. That's beautiful, that's wonderful, that's free will. But if you're hearing information that has a ring of hope, and you hear it as truth, and your soul says this is true, trust that that's true for you. So you always have to go into your heart and focus on the information that brings you hope and makes your heart feel and sound in a positive way.
That's great. It's funny that many people are being accused of selling hopium, and with that exact same message. And it's just like, well, why would you invest your energy in anything else? Why would you invest your energy in doom and gloom? Right? Yeah. I mean, it's just common sense. But you're attacked, for selling hopium. And it's just, there are times Earth just looks like this big pot of gumbo. It's got everything in it. And depending on the bite you take, it's either going to be mild or it's going to be really spicy, And that's pretty much where it's at the moment. But we're definitely on a positive timeline. And yeah, I'm going to sell hopium. It's going to be okay. But it's still a roller coaster.
Yeah,
there's going to be some sharp turns and some dips and some elevation and then quick falls. But staying balanced is absolutely appropriate, and the way to do it, because when you're balanced, you have control of yourself. You're not being motivated by outside influences. You are motivating yourself through your higher self. You're listening to your own frequency. Yeah. And right now there's no better way to go, because every single journey is individual. There was an old movie theater that went out of business, and the last thing that the owner put up there was, when you choose to follow the masses, sometimes the M is silent.
Giggle that way. You say it. So true. Talking of asses, as we are kind of coming into, fuller awareness, there's more kind of things to distract us. And some of the things that have happened en masse, we've had all these groups of people, Nasara, Jasara, the politicians, JFK over here. This person's a clone, but it's okay. They've been arrested and executed at Gitmo. Do you remember all that, you guys out there? Of course you do.
Still going
the last 3 years, right? And there's a separation and a segregation and a division of all these different groups. They couldn't possibly imagine all coming together, because they're so sure that they're right, and everything they think is right, and everything they've been told is the truth, instead of allowing themselves to collapse in with everybody else and really kind of merge and feel what part of it is true, what belongs to them, what doesn't. Here's something to think about. There's always something going on. Yesterday I had it right this moment. I've forgotten it, but it's something it's the latest thing to say that everybody is saying. So we've gone from the JFK, the executions, the Sarah, Gitmo, and then we go into, oh, that person took a photograph with somebody who we've been told is a satanic or a murderer or a torpedo, rhymes with something with our little ones. And it's just unbelievable. This evil witch hunt with one-celled amoebas releasing it into these beautiful groups of people who are on a search, a soul search, a search in their own humanity to come together, rise together. And so when you guys out there are pointing fingers and you're just spewing what you heard without any thought, don't be that dumb robot. Think before you speak. Talk through the gates of kindness. Is it necessary? Is it true? And do you need to say it? Because when you just copy what someone says and you bypass your own brain, your own heart, your own soul, know that you are owned. You out there, you are owned. You are owned by what you are listening to without thinking or using your own brilliant, beautiful brain, your amazing heart, your incredible soul. And even if you are a muppet and you are trying to lead the throngs for some kind of fame or fortune, call back, have a little look. Why are you doing that? Have you done any good in that journey? If not, shut up, sit down and let someone else talk the truth, because it's boring and it's manipulation and it's harmful to your brothers and your sisters. Another thing that people say, oh God, Alex, this one really did get me in the ghoulies. I don't know, it was like last year or the year before. the word compromised came out. I think actually you were one of the first ones, but rightly so, because we had the Pleiadians discussing, we had the Andromedans discussing. And one thing I want to say too, Alex, when we had the knowledge that somebody was taken over by AI, they were not talking to a benevolent Pleiadian who was in the military, which compromised the Galactic Federation of Worlds, or could have done in some regard. Not that one person could actually do that much damage, but we were trying to bring a light to something. So you were forced into a corner, you were forced to say this person is compromised. But before all that happened, Alex, remember that you contacted me, like the Andromedans are not happy about this. And, because what was so beautiful to me was recognizing the Galactic Federation of Worlds is many, 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 many different races in this galaxy. And they are not going to ever allow one single Jesus, one single this, one single race, one single being to ever play king again. Or queen. It's just not on, John. That is not how humanity evolved. We do not have a single Godhead. It's not allowed. None of us in the screen want that, and most of you don't want that either. You really don't. So now people are saying, it came out about you, some Muppet boys going around, Alex Collier is compromised, Michael Saller is compromised, Alina Danan is compromised. And it was so funny because this bobber job comes along out of nowhere, and suddenly the people who are owned, and this is a good gauge, you guys, if you believe that from somebody who has no history whatsoever, who has no proof of disclosure whatsoever, who has no long-term 30-year body of work whatsoever, it's a beautiful indicator for you to have a look at where you got twisted, where you got turned. You're asking for help. We're here giving you help. We're giving you tips to figure out a way through and a route through. So that's one of the ways too. Stop. And also, here's a really good one. I really piss people off. I rattle their cages. Do you know what's so great about that, you guys? I mean, I don't do it on purpose, but it just kind of happens. But what's so great is if somebody rattles your cage, it's because they're saying something that you're not admitting. That, and if you don't like something in someone, it's because there's something in you that needs a little look at. It needs a little thinky dink about. And that's all right. That's all right. That's how we get there. That's how we get to shine the light in here and stop bullshitting and saying the wrong thing and accusing people of being things that they're not. Right? What do you guys say to that?
So no Muppets, no Poppy, and Thinkadinkies.
It's very important.
You know what, Dani? I think everybody's been so conditioned that they automatically go to the negative. They will believe the negative before they ever believe the positive. And there are a lot of people, and I know this for a fact, who are addicted to fear. They just want to be afraid, because they've been so conditioned to be afraid that that's the only way they feel anything, because they're always afraid, and they can't let it go. They don't know how to let it go because they don't truly trust what's on the other side. And what's on the other side is who the hell they are. That's who they are. But, they refuse to go there because they have put their entire focus on the outside of themselves, to outside stimulation, as opposed to connecting to source and being and feeling their own frequency. And it's incredibly frustrating. And yeah, I know. It's a shitstorm. It's just a shitstorm. But the good thing about a storm is when it passes, the sun always comes out.
Yeah.
The light is always shining. And that's the trick, is to withstand the storm. That's the trick, is to withstand the storm.
Withstand the storm and know that everybody here and out there is in some kind of a healing process, and we have all got stuff to look at. There ain't a single purity, person that doesn't get to not look at stuff on the planet whatsoever. I'm going to end with something happy, of course, that's always the intention. But I want to go around, you guys, and for you to say any last words, anything else that you feel we should share today, please share it.
Ladies first.
Thank you. I would like to point out that there are several people, very respected people, who talk about the universe resolving paradoxes within itself. And fear has many components to it. One of the fears that we on Earth are experiencing right now is fear of evolution itself. So we are experiencing a paradox, or two sides of the same coin. We desperately want out of this shithole. We desperately want to be done with this, but we have a fear of evolution. So that's a paradox. And as each one of us chooses of our own free will to resolve the paradox, to look at it, to hold it up, right hand, left hand, and imagine a beautiful golden rose in either hand, asking your higher self, how do I release the judgment that is creating fear of evolution? That fear of evolution will cease to project that which will prevent evolution. Because when we choose to experience a fear, that's what we create. It's what we create. And I know there was something else, but what everybody else was saying really got me fired up about the paradoxes. So
Beautiful. Chris.
Well, basically, I would just, I'll repeat myself, in that don't lose hope. Don't, don't be overwhelmed by things. The best that you can. Know that you're on you're at a good place. You're on a good planet. Though things might be, like stormy from time to time. And then, while you're seeking, don't forget to seek within your heart to see vibrationally if this information is true or correct or good for you, or is bringing you difficulty, bringing you sadness, bringing you anxiety, or is it lifting you up, giving you hope, and helping you raise your vibration? Because everything that you listen to that is false or negative information lowers your vibration, lowers your frequency. So focus on things that you feel uplifted by and joyful with, and that'll bring you, a lot more joy and hope on your, your daily life and your daily path, just simply by doing that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Alex, final words, my love.
The politics of our evolution only dictates that there's one or another side. If you were to look at a spiritual practice that the A's use and many other races use on Earth, the one that's the most similar to that would be Buddhism, where it is you and your connection to Source and your own personal evolution. And how you treat yourself is how you treat others, and how you treat others is what you should expect, how you should be treated. It's a very, very basic, simple tenet. And the way that what the Matrix has done to so many people here is it's given them like two choices. That's what's constantly narrated, two choices. And what a lot of people don't realize is that they're both two sides of the same coin. So if we could just put all that aside and find the middle path where there's the least amount of interference and there's the least amount of resistance, because they've dug themselves in on either side, right or left, right or wrong, black or white, however you want to explain it. The middle path is where humanity should at least migrate to and begin the process of self-discovery, because everything evolves. If you walk in nature every single day, there is no day where exactly everything's the same. Everything constantly changes. Everything is continuously evolving. Well, it's no different with life. It's no different with spirit. It's no different with quantum physics. Everything is alive, and therefore everything is moving, because it's all energy. It's all energy and it's all consciousness. So there's nothing to be afraid of. As Jenny was saying, there's nothing to be afraid of in evolution. It's just letting go of the belief systems that you have to choose one side or the other. Just blow off both sides and find yourself in the middle, and just take the steps forward there, realizing that you don't have to trap yourself or chain yourself to any one thing, because you are, in fact, we all are creating our own reality. Every minute, every time we look forward, every time we think about the future, we are literally calling it forward and creating that. And that's where humanity needs to be. See, this is why we're watching everything collapse. This is why we're watching everything implode on itself. Everything. Because in the end, what's only going to be left is what we, humanity, are creating for ourselves. That's all that's going to be left. So that's where the focus should be. It should be on creating our future individually, for our loved ones, our families, for humanity. Because the future is not behind you. It's not behind you. It's always in front of you. So it's time to let go of the past. It's time to let go of all those things that do not serve you. Because we have worked all that to death. We have worked it to death. And where are we? Where is humanity with all this bullshit that they have fed us? We're not free. We're not sovereign. We're not self-empowered. We're not prosperous. We find ourselves completely trapped in all these narratives that everybody else created and told us that we needed to believe. And they obviously all got it wrong. They all got it wrong, and they all had their own agendas. The agenda was not about us. It was about them. It was about power. And I think we need to tell them to bugger off, frankly. Just bugger off. That's all I got. Thanks for having me, Dani.
Oh, darling, thank you for coming on the
Chris,
channel.
it's always a pleasure. Jenny, awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Glad to be here myself.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And Alex, you know, it's such a joy too, because you rarely go on anyone's channel. So I feel really privileged. Now, guys out there, I got something to tell you. Look, you want to know where to go, don't you? You're like, oh my God, Alex is like giving this so much today, and Chris O'Connor's given so much, and Ginny's given so much. Well, let me tell you guys, the place to be on a Friday, the place to be on a Friday is alexcollier.org. And let me tell you why. Because there is no censorship on the Great Commander's website. Oh, no, sorry. You can hear. He's hiding his. Oh, he's going to tell me off. It's so worth it, though. Guys, I can't tell you how many people listen in on a Friday to this great man and the things he says. He does not hold back. There is no whiny censorship on his platform. So if you want to keep up to date, that's where you go. alexcollier.org. Go there, guys. Go there. You will thank me. You will thank me. Now,
you're popular. You're popular right now. And I don't know where the whole commander thing came from. I honestly don't know. I mean, I was just a galley cook. That's it, you know.
Oh, dear, dear. Ginny, what were you saying?
I just want to say I get some of my best swear words from Alex.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll start using some French and Italian in the next one, so we can get a little more international cussing.
Always good. I'll start with the French. Merde, which means shit in French. Now,
Esplanade, facim, Scumberia, tutta costa.
Scoperio. That's an easy one.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh man. So Alex, last year in October, when we did our first Galactic and Spiritual Informers Connection event, it was attended by almost 1,000 people. 1,000 people were literally bathed in 4D energy, in 4D love. And so many keep writing and emailing still saying their lives changed. They've never felt the same again in great, beautiful ways. Now, during that event, Alex, you were honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award for your dedication to humanity, to the true history of Earth. And there it is.
And there it is.
Hold it up a bit longer. Chris is on screen right now. I was trying to cut to, let's do that again. Okay, Alex, may you please hold up your award?
I'm trying to get it without the reflection.
Beautiful. With your beautiful fleur-de-lis signia.
Says, you know, thank you for retiring. We're glad to have you out of the way.
You just got to be serious.
Bugger off, mate.
We are so glad you haven't buggered off, mate. I can tell you that. So what I want to let the people watching this channel, the beings watching this channel to know is that, guys, on the actual final day of the event, we awarded this beautiful man with his Lifetime Achievement Award because he has actually retired from physical public service. Another reason why I'm so delighted that he's here with us today. I wanted to let you know that if you wanted to witness and see that beautiful event, it includes most of the speakers pouring love into Alex and really giving their testimony to him for the great service that he has done thus far and still continues to, but thus far for us and you know, us humans here. If you really want to see that award ceremony happening, then I invite you to go to Vimeo, to the Galactic and Spiritual Informers videos, and you can actually purchase that video that Alex Collier has his name on, and it is also sharing his presentation, his last public, in-person, on stage, physical presentation, and it was the future of humanity. So you can go there. I'll put all the details underneath the video. To you, Alex Collier, Chris O'Connor, and Ginny Jablonski, I give you so much love from my heart to yours, and thank you guys for being here and just adding so much value to each other and to the beautiful people that will see this. And to you beautiful beings out there, have a beautiful Saturday and Sunday wherever you are in the world. My name is Dani Henderson, and I will see you soon.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Unmanned object.
We were able to get some fighter aircraft up and around it before